Good morning, and welcome to another Minority Counterpoint program. This is your hostess, Gwen Blackburn. This morning, we are going to talk about a subject that we don't want to talk about, but we are going to talk about because it's not getting any better. And I'd like to say it has gotten, well, I don't want to say it's gotten worse, but in some instances it has. And we're talking about the opioids. I say opioids, but I think it's more than just opioids. My guest today is Paul Hammerstein. Okay. I had it written down too, Paul, but yeah. And he has with him a young lady. And we're going to talk about Malden Overcoming Addiction, which is the group that he is with. And hopefully you're going to learn something new today. He has with him a young lady who is helping the young people who should be, hopefully, getting involved with overcoming addiction. Her name is Marisa Vasquez. Did I get that right?
Yes, you did.
Oh, Paul writes well. So, good morning to both of you, and welcome to Minority Counterpoint.
Good morning, Gwen.
It is, I wish I could say it's a pleasure having you. I like the idea of being able to get the word out there to our listeners, but I hate that we have to talk about this at all. It is, I don't want to say it's getting worse, but then maybe it is. Paul, talk to me about our listeners about, I'm going to use the word pandemics.
Pandemic, yeah.
Let's talk about, what are you talking about when you say that? That means it's worse, getting worse.
Well, Gwen, pandemic, a lot of people refer to the opioid crisis as an epidemic, and epidemic is generally confined to a certain area, and pandemic can go, it's spread much wider it could go as wide, it's worldwide, and that's what we're in. We're in a pandemic because it's not just in Massachusetts, it's not just in Virginia, it's across the globe, and everyone is affected. We all know somebody that's affected, whether it's in our lives or we know somebody, and it just goes right across. It's everywhere.
But when you say it's around the world,
Mm-hmm.
It really is, because we haven't heard that.
Yeah, I mean, you can look it up. I kind of track the opioid-related fatalities and overdoses, and it's going right across the country. It's some places are worse than others, depending on what's more densely populated. But you can't run from it. It's everywhere,
And what is being done to try, and not only what is being done, what are you doing in Malden? Let's talk a little bit about Malden.
Sure.
And what your program is in overcoming addiction.
So I'm the president of Malden Overcoming Addiction, and we're a coalition here in Malden. We're a nonprofit organization, and we have many things going on here in the city to help out our community. One of the main things we have going on right now, it's a recovery coach program. So I don't know if everybody knows exactly what a recovery coach is, but MOA has many recovery coaches to walk with you on your journey of recovery. Our recovery coaches will encourage, support, listen without judgment. We will help advocate with you, gain resources in the community. Recovery coaching is a peer-to-peer relationship based on mutuality and respect. And the four main goals of recovery coaching are to promote recovery, remove barriers, we connect people with recovery supports, we encourage hope, optimism, and healthy living. So these are the things that we're doing for people that are out there in the community. So it sort of starts like this, Gwen. When someone goes into a detox,
Yes.
It's 5 to 6 days, and then they get out of that detox, and they
go
sort of
back.
come right back home
Right.
if they don't have enough money to move on to further treatment, or if they don't have the proper insurance, and that's one of the barriers we help remove. But what's happening is they need someone to talk to, and we can offer at Malden Overcoming Addiction. If you contact us through our website, MaldenOvercomingAddiction.com, we have a tab on there just called Recovery Coaches, and we can set you up with a coach that best suits you. And generally, the coaches are someone you meet with weekly. You might talk to them, and it's just someone that meets you where you're at. They don't judge you. It's just a person. It's a resource broker, we like to call it. Whatever you need. If you do need a detox, we can help you. If if someone could help you find a job, it's just someone to listen to you and help guide you through the tough times.
And you have something for young people like Marisa?
Yeah, so Marisa Vasquez is with me. And so how to become a recovery coach, that's probably where I should have started. So we at Malden Overcoming Addiction have, with the help of the Malden Fire Department and the Malden Police Department, we got some grant money through them, and we brought the CCAR Recovery Coach Academy to Malden, and we trained people who wanted to be trained as recovery coaches. And Marisa is with me today. She's an 18-year-old female, and she wanted to give back to the community, and Marisa's been fantastic helping the young people of Malden. A lot of times the young people might not want to look at me and accept help from me because I'm a little bit older. So, it's always nice when there's a younger person that can give back to the community. And she's been trained as a recovery coach, and we use her. She's also a member of Alateen, and she does a lot of work with the young
well,
folks
I
in
don't
the
want you
community.
to tell me. She can tell me
There you
herself.
go.
Thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome.
Okay, so Marisa, talk about, exactly what it is that you do as a young coach.
Okay, so I want to start off with being in the process of being a recovery coach. So it was a program that I did for about, what was it, like a week?
Mhm.
It was a week. It was from morning to like late afternoon, like to 5 p.m. And during that whole week, it was just like hands-on like training, and it was a booklet, and we would work with other people who were also in the process of being a recovery coach. And it was great because I not only met other people and their stories and stuff, but I learned also about myself, and that this is the kind of the field that I want to pursue in my future career. So I also learned a lot too, because dealing with my family, of them being like addicts, it helped me to meet them where they're at. And that's one of the things that I've learned at Recovery Coach is meet them where they're at. No matter if I am angry with them or hold grudges or resentments, that I have to meet them where they're at.
Yes.
And also I've learned so much. I just want to talk about active listening is something I've learned greatly, and I'm using in my everyday life, I love that in Recovery Coach. I'm not also being in training to work with a recovery, but I'm also in training to work with peers, myself, and my family mostly.
So let me just ask a question. Are there very many young people that you find that are involved in? Oh, I see your face. That must mean yes, but are there very many young people that are involved in opioids? And I don't know. See, I'm always confused about opioids and drugs, and if they're one and the same.
It is the same.
Okay. So do we have very many young people who are involved?
When you say involved, do you mean involved with the recovery aspect or actually using?
Using.
It's a very, very high number.
Yeah.
I know I see in the newspaper very often where someone has died, and if they give the age and it's a young person, I immediately say drugs. And I may be wrong, but if they're 17, 18, something like that. So how are you reaching these young people? And are they getting involved in Malden or MOA?
Yes, we have something we do every year. So just this year alone, we do something every year called Stop the Stigma Day, where we get into every school and we get a chance to talk to over 3,000 students that range from 5th grade to 12th grade. And this year we hit about 3,300 students. Marisa was part of that. And we go in and we educate them on stigma, because stigma is the number one offender. It's probably the biggest barrier when young people or people in general, when you think people might be thinking something about you or they're talking about you, stigma can be crippling. And so that's what we've done at Malden Overcoming Addiction. We've created a day that happens every April. And Marisa was a big part of that this year, if you wanted to.
Yeah, so it was really great. One thing I want to touch on was that MOA suggested that the kids should, because we make a video every year about it, and this year we changed it up. And so my friends and I wanted to create a video on how stigma affects the youth, where stigma affects everyone. And so we did that. It was really a great experience. It took a while.
Yeah.
There was a lot of there's a lot of hands-on things and stuff, and timing and time management and all that. And it was stressful because I had a problem with finding people who wanted to address this and finding people that were interested in this, because all that media and photography that's really popular right now in our generation.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, but how about we do something that addresses how stigma affects us? And unfortunately, not everyone was raising their hands at once.
Oh, I'm sure.
So, but I was trying and I was trying and I was trying. And I found some friends that were like, you know what, I'll do it. And I said, you don't need to be affected by this. I was like, you could just talk about it because this is something that everyone goes through.
Okay. We're going to take a break right now and come back and talk more about opioid and pandemic and whatever else we need to talk about, Paul, with the Malden Overcoming Addiction. So stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Minority Counterpoint. This morning, we are talking about a subject that I wish we didn't have to, but I wish that our talking about it would do something. I talked about, to my guest, Paul Hammersley, I talked to him and said, I see in the newspaper a lot of times, when I look at the obituary, I only look to make sure I'm not there. But when I look and I see somebody with the age 17, 18, it tells me right away what I hate to think, and that is they died from an overdose. So, but that's what we're talking about today. We're talking, Paul is the head of Malden Overcoming Addiction. He's doing a lot of different things. With him is also Marisa Vasquez, who is a young woman who is working along with him, a young coach. Paul, I hate to talk about these things, but we have to. I want to talk about so much, and we only have a short amount of time, but talk about the recovery center that you are hoping to get started in Malden, I guess.
Yeah, so we're talking about opioids, we're talking about drug use, we're talking about detox, we're talking about so many things, but we're not talking about a place for people to go after they get out of the detox. So there's 10 funded recovery centers across the state. There's just 10. Oh. And DPH, the Department of Public Health, funds those 10. So we have asked the state to put $1 million into the budget to fund 3 more peer-to-peer recovery centers, and they were going to do that. Currently, there are 10 centers across the state. And during the budget process at the State House, there was a compromise of $250,000 that actually was added in, not $1 million. People decided to, maybe make some cuts or do some things, and they compromised and put $250,000 that was added. That's not even enough to fund one center.
Wow.
So we need everyone. We're asking everyone to contact their local legislators, state reps, senators to advocate for this funding and let them know how important it is. And if people choose to do that, the actual line item number is 4512-0200. And I'm just going to go on and say, by now I'm sure you're all aware, it's all too real in the devastating effects of addiction in our communities. In 2015, there were 176 confirmed unintentional opioid-related overdose deaths in 12 North Shore communities, and that's Chelsea, Everett, Lynn, Malden, Medford, Melrose, Revere, Saugus, Somerville, Stoneham, Winchester, and Winthrop. This staggering number comprises more than 11% of the total deaths in the entire Commonwealth. So the Bridge Recovery Center is what we're hoping to name our center, but the Bridge Recovery Center would serve as an invaluable and vital resource for those struggling with the disease of addiction. The Bridge Recovery Center would also serve as a peer-to-peer community that connects individuals in recovery to a safe and judgment-free atmosphere that promotes health in every aspect of life. And at this point, we already have the partners in play. We have the place picked out. We have everything on tap, ready to go, except we didn't get the funding. So they're still working on it. We're in that Hail Mary stage now where, certain money got cut. And where I see it from where I sit, cut something else. There's nothing more important than what we're all in right now. In Massachusetts alone, there's 5 to 6 people every day that are dying. So
every day?
Every day, there's 5 to 6 people in Massachusetts who die from opioid-related deaths. So recovery centers, in the 10 centers that are across the state, they're proven to work in their community. And now you heard me read off 12 communities.
Yes.
Those are the communities we're going to serve for the recovery center. The recovery center isn't just a Malden thing. We're going to serve all the other communities: Chelsea, Everett, Lynn, Malden, Medford, Melrose, Revere, Saugus, Somerville, Stoneham, Winchester, and Winthrop. We will provide a bus service to go pick people up and bring them back and forth. And it's a peer-to-peer center. It's non-clinical. And again, that's right. And again, we're going to have people on board: YMCA for health and wellness, Cambridge Health Alliance for medical assisted treatment, ABCD for potential housing and food. And we're going to have other companies come in teaching computer classes. And every night of the week there would be a different meeting, whether it's Gamblers Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. There'd just be a whole slew of things going on in this peer-to-peer center that folks could get the help they need, because the main thing for people to recover is they need to be around people just like them, and the peers will run the center. They will pick and choose how the center operates.
Now, you've given us a lot of information. Now, what I don't understand is you applied for funding?
Yeah, we've went to the state.
Yes.
There was going to be $1 million put into the budget, and it didn't work out that way. So each recovery center gets funded $350,000. So the $1 million would have covered 2 centers with some extra money left over, and instead it was determined that they were only going to put $250,000 into that line item because of the deficit that they say that we're facing in every other area. So things seem to have gotten cut.
So the deficit, do they know about the deaths?
Again, and that's what I'm saying. This seems to be the pandemic that we're in. We're in a health crisis, so I'm hoping that that funding, they figure out a way to get us that funding so we can start the process of helping people and giving people the help that they need.
Okay, listeners out there in listening land, get on your telephone and call your people. I guess you need to call your
State
representatives
reps,
and the senators and let them know how critical this is. I mean, it is really critical. It's getting worse. And just to throw this in, just recently, I'm sure some of you have heard about some other kind of new drug, carfentanil or something like that, that you just have to come in the same room with this drug and you're done.
Yeah, so
or something similar. I may be exaggerating, but
no, you're not. So there's heroin, and the big problem right now with the heroin is what we're seeing is it's the fentanyl is the number one offender because they're mixing it, and that's where the ODs are happening, and people can't control how they're mixing it. Nobody's a chemist, but there's a lot of problems with fentanyl, and now the new drug that has made its way towards Boston. There's been a public health alert. It's called carfentanil. It's an elephant tranquilizer. It's the strongest opioid known to man. Whew. So it kind of goes like this. Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times stronger than heroin, and carfentanil is about 50 times stronger than fentanyl. So if that if it touches your skin,
Yeah.
it could be fatal.
Yes.
So, yeah, you really want to stay away from that. But people are mixing it in with the heroin to make the
Oh,
stuff
my
stronger.
goodness.
And no one knows what they're doing out there with it. But it's a real problem.
Oh, yeah, because I just want to say, because I know there are a lot of pet lovers out there, it can kill your dog.
That's correct.
Yeah. So this is something that we've got to get our legislators to understand what is going on out there and to do the things that Paul is talking about that needs to be done. You have something coming up, Malden, excuse me, I'm from Medford, folks. Malden Overcoming Addiction Day you're having?
Yeah, we have August 19th. It's a week from Saturday from 10 to 2 p.m. in Lincoln Commons in Malden. It's on Cross and Willow Streets. We have something called Malden Overcomes Day. Basically, it's our second anniversary, and we give back to the city. It's a free event. There'll be bouncy houses, slip and slides, DJ, food, games for the kids, face painting, on and on and on. It's our way to say thank you to the city of Malden for accepting us and constantly supporting us and showing us the love that we need to keep going.
That's wonderful. You're doing an awful lot, Paul. And I'm going to say Marisa is also, because she's involved and she is coaching. And what are some of the things that we haven't talked about in the last couple of minutes?
So again, the recovery center, if everyone is listening, please, recovery centers are where it's at. We need to do something to help the people that are out there right now. And I can't stress enough that recovery centers will start to turn the numbers back in our favor because people need a place to go. I'm convinced that this is the answer for our communities. We need help from the state level. It is imperative that we get a recovery center around this area just to help the folks. I can't stress it enough.
And this is not, just so we're clear, this isn't a place where people go and stay.
No, it's a day treatment place. You're in and out. You can stay the day. There'll be things going on all day long. It's a community. It's a peer-to-peer community where folks come in and they can learn everything from how to get back into the computer. We'll have computer classes.
Okay.
We're going to have trainings. There's going to be multiple things to do in the center. But again, the most important thing, everyone in there is going to be in recovery, recovering together, because that's how it starts. You need the assistance at the beginning. You have to be around people just like you.
And Paul, I just have to ask you, are local representatives, are you working with them, talking with them? Are they
working
support?
very, very closely with them. We have another meeting coming up in August. They've been fantastic. They're working for us. We're working directly with them, and they're fighting for us, and I'm hoping they continue to fight for us, and hopefully they can get us the funding that we need.
Okay. Well, this has been wonderful. We are just about out of time. Okay. So I want to thank you again. Our listeners, if you want to contact me, Gwen Blackburn, at iHeartMedia.com or at 1 Cabot Road, room 320 in Medford, 02155. Or you can join me on Facebook, my fan page, facebook.com/Minority Counterpoint, or join the conversation on Twitter at Gwen Blackburn 5. And until next Sunday, have a blessed week.